I did not even get a good evening. My sister, Sloane Halden, stood up beside the birthday cake and said, "Mira contributes nothing. She just takes and takes." She said it like a fact, not a feeling. The room went quiet, then filled with laughs that sounded forced. My hands stayed on my lap. Inside, I felt my stomach drop. My name is Mira Halden. I am 39. I live in Auckland, New Zealand, in a house near the harbor where the wind smells like salt. I dress plain. I talk plain. I also track every dollar that moves through our family business. Dad's birthday dinner was supposed to be simple. My father, Ken Halden, is 68 and retired from the docks. He is the kind of man who fixes a broken hinge before he sits down. He believes family should work like a team. That belief is why tonight hurt him, even if he tried not to show it. My mother, Giselle Halden, sat beside him with her perfect smile. She is 64 and cares a lot about how things look. She can turn a lie into a polite sentence. Across from her sat Sloane's fiancé, Brent Carden. Brent is 33 and works in consulting, which means he sells big words for money. He watches people the way a cat watches a bird. Sloane is 30. She runs a little marketing studio and calls herself a creative director. She is good at talking. She is good at getting people to clap before they know what they are clapping for. Tonight, she wore a white jacket, gold hoops, and the kind of confidence that comes from being protected. Protected by Dad. Sloane tapped her fork on her glass. "Everyone knows Halden Harbor Solutions is growing," she said. But Mira acts like she owns the place just because she sits with spreadsheets. "Arlie, Halden Harbor Solutions is our company. 8 years ago, Dad helped us rent a tiny office near the marina. We trained small boat crews in safety skills and sold gear. It was not flashy, it was real work. I built the systems, I set up payroll. I handled taxes, insurance, supplier deals, fuel cards, and the rules that keep you legal. Sloane made the logo and posted photos online. In the first year, we needed both. After that, we needed one thing more than anything else: money managed right." Sloane smiled at the guests. "Mira is always busy," she said, making air quotes. "But she skips client lunches. She skips events. She never brings in new deals." I lifted my eyes. "I bring in deals by keeping us alive," I said. My voice was calm. "You can't sell training if the insurance lapses." Sloane laughed. "See? She thinks paying bills is leadership." Brent added, "Growth needs vision, not just bookkeeping." Dad shifted in his seat. "Mira works hard," he said softly. Mom touched his arm. "Ken, let her speak," she said, like Sloane was giving a toast. Sloane turned back to the table. "Here's the plan," she said. "Starting next month, I'll be the managing director. Mira can stay on part-time, doing admin support. She can stop pretending she owns half the company. F. That word was the hook. It was also wrong. My heartbeat stayed steady, but my mind moved fast. Sloane was not just insulting me. She was setting the room to accept a new story, one where I was useless and she was the hero. If I fought with emotion, I would look like the problem. So I asked one clean question. "Who approved this?" I said. Sloane shrugged. "Dad? Mom? Brent, we've all talked." Dad blinked. "We talked about you taking more meetings," he said. "Not pushing Mira out." Sloane's smile tightened. "Dad, you said you want to step back. Someone has to lead. Mira doesn't have the energy." Mom said, "Let's not argue at dinner." Her tone made it sound like I was already arguing. I looked at Dad. "Did you sign any new papers?" I asked. "No," Dad said, confused. "No papers." Sloane waved her hand. "It's family. We don't need papers to do what's right. Family." That word is often used to stop questions. Then Sloane dropped the real move. "I already booked a board meeting for Monday," she said. "We'll vote it in. Mira, bring your laptop. We'll need full access to the accounts." Brent smiled at me, small and sharp. "Be smart, Mira," he said. "Take the smaller role. Save face." Save face, like truth did not matter. I nodded once. "Okay," I said. Sloane's shoulders relaxed. She thought I caved. She went back to laughing with the guests. Mom looked relieved. Dad looked tired. Dinner ended with pictures and hugs. Sloane pulled me into a photo and whispered, "Smile, you're still included." I smiled because I wanted her to stay careless. Outside, rain misted the street. I walked to my car, shut the door, and let the quiet hit me. I opened my laptop right there in the parking lot. My battery was high. My hotspot was on. The folder I needed was already ready, because I always prepare for storms. Inside was my spreadsheet. It was not just numbers. It was a timeline. Every time the company was short, I covered it. Every time we expanded, I bought more shares. Every time Sloane took money for branding, I kept the lights on. I opened the sheet and scrolled. Dates. Amounts. Notes. Proof that did not care who was louder. Then I drafted one email to every board member. 7 people, all trusted by Dad, all required for big changes. I attached the spreadsheet and the share ledger. Subject: governance notice and share accord. One sentence in the body. Please read this before Monday. It changes the vote. My finger hovered for 1 second. Then I hit send. I leaned back, watched the screen, and waited for the read receipt to light up, like thunder. Quick pause, friend. Are you enjoying this story so far? Do you like how Mira stays calm while the pressure grows? What do you think Sloane and Brent are really planning for Monday? I want your honest opinion. And what do you think about my channel, TrueVenge Chronicles? If you like stories where truth fights back with receipts, please tell me in the comments. Also write where you are watching from, your city and country, because I love seeing how far these stories travel. If you are new here, subscribe so you don't miss part 2, because the board meeting is about to get messy. And if you can, hit like because it helps more people find these stories. Now, let's jump back in. Tell me if you have ever had a family member deny your work. Would you stay quiet like Mira, or would you explode? Drop it below. The first read receipt came in before I even started the engine. Moana Villi opened the email. Moana is 59, a retired Coast Guard officer with no patience for games. Then Peter Blakely opened it. Peter is 61, a safety inspector who speaks only when he is sure. Then Lenny Cho. Lenny is 52 and owns a marina. He respects rules and money. One by one, all 7 board members read my message. My phone rang. "What did you send?" Sloane snapped. "The truth," I said. "You're trying to shame me." "You shamed me first," I said. "I just kept records." Brent's voice slid in. Smooth. "Mira, don't blow this up. Take the smaller role and stay quiet." "I'll take the role the shareholders vote for," I said. Brent paused. "How many shares do you think you have?" "Enough," I said, and ended the call. That night, I called our lawyer, Harper Ngata. Harper is 45, calm, and sharp. He helped build our share rules years ago, when everyone else was busy clapping for Sloane. "I reviewed your file," Harper said. "It's clean." "Can they block me before Monday?" I asked. "They can try," he said, "but they can't remove you legally if you control the vote. Still, protect access. Change passwords, turn on 2-step codes, print hard copies." "I already started," I said. "Good," he replied. "One more thing. Your share total is higher than you think." "How high?" I asked. 81%, he said. My mouth went dry. 81. It felt heavy, like a key I did not ask for, but earned anyway. Every time the company was short, I covered it. Every time we expanded, I reinvested. While Sloane chased attention, I bought control. On Saturday, I did not argue with anyone. I worked. I changed every password tied to payroll and vendor payments. I added 2-step codes that went to my phone and Harper's office line. I printed the share ledger and stapled it to the board minutes like a shield. Then I drove to our training yard by the marina. The gear racks stood in rows, wet from mist. Our field manager, Jay Rotia, was there early, checking helmets. Jay is 41, Samoan, and the kind of man who notices a missing bolt from across a room. "Morning, Mira," he said. "Something's up, yeah?" I didn't give him gossip. I gave him tasks. "Back up the training schedules," I said. "Copy the inventory logs. If anyone asks you to move equipment or cancel sessions, you wait for me." Jay's eyes narrowed. Sloane trying to play boss? She's trying, I said. He nodded once. Noted, he said. No one touches anything. That night, Sloane texted me again. Don't show up Monday with drama. Dad needs peace. Brent sent a message too, full of fake kindness. Let's keep this family. I did not reply to either. Replies create openings. Sunday, Dad called. His voice sounded older than usual. Mira, I love you, he said. But please, don't humiliate your sister. I'm not the one who stood up and lied, I said. I'm bringing facts. Facts don't humiliate people. Lies do. He went quiet. Just be careful, he whispered. I will, I said. And I meant it. At 7:30, I parked and sat for a minute. I listened to the rain on the roof. I checked my folder, then checked it again. Harper texted one word, ready. When I walked inside, I noticed the office door code had been changed quietly. Callie looked scared. That told me Sloane tried to lock me out. Monday morning came fast. I arrived at our office near the docks at 8:40. Sloane had taped posters in the lobby that said Vision and Amplify. The receptionist, Callie, looked at me like she didn't know if I was allowed to exist. Morning, she said. Morning, I said, and kept walking. In the conference room, Sloane sat in the best chair like she owned it. Brent stood behind her like a guard. Dad sat to the side, shoulders low. Mom sat beside him, lips tight. Sloane had a laptop open and glossy pages stacked in front of her. The top page read, New Era Plan. I set my folder on the table and sat down. The board filed in. Moana first, then Peter, then Lenny, then the others. Last came the chair, Martha Rangi. Martha is 57, a former compliance officer with a voice that can stop a room. She placed her binder down and said, Let's begin. Sloane stood up right away. Thank you, she said. We need modern leadership. Mira has been helpful, but she's holding us back. I propose a restructure today. Martha lifted a hand. Before proposals, she said, we address governance. Sloane blinked. Governance? Mira sent a shareholder ledger and a spending spreadsheet. Martha said, if it is accurate, it changes voting power. That spreadsheet is private, Sloane snapped. Moana leaned forward. Not when it decides control, she said. Peter nodded. We can't vote blind, he added. Sloane turned to Dad. Tell them it's wrong. Dad's hands trembled as he reached for his water. I don't know, he admitted. I didn't track it. Mom said softly, Mira always wants control. I want stability. I said. Brent smiled at the board. Mira is hijacking the company, he said. She's mad because we chose new leadership. Lenny's eyes narrowed. Do you own shares, Brent? Brent hesitated. I'm with Sloane. That's not ownership, Lenny said. Martha looked at me. Mira, state your claim. I slid the share ledger forward. I own 81% of Halden Harbor Solutions, I said. Transfers are signed, filed, and witnessed. The spreadsheet shows why. I covered shortfalls and reinvested. Sloane shot up. That's theft, she shouted. You stole from family. I stayed calm. I bought shares during legal expansion rounds, I said. Dad signed the forms. Board minutes are attached. Harper Ngata stepped in from the side door. He had arrived quietly. That is correct, Harper said. I prepared the filings. They were accepted. Sloane pointed at him. You're her lawyer. I'm the company's lawyer, Harper said. And the records are clear. Silence pressed down. Dad looked stunned. Mom's face tightened. Brent's eyes moved fast, like he was counting exits. Martha tapped her pen once. Sloane, she said, you announced a leadership change at a dinner. You scheduled a vote to demote a majority owner. Did you seek proper approval for that process? Sloane swallowed. Dad wanted it? Martha replied, Dad is not the majority owner. Sloane's voice cracked. This is my family's legacy. I was chosen. Moana's voice stayed cold. Leadership isn't inherited. It's earned. Martha turned to the board. First vote, she said. Is any restructure valid without proper notice and without the majority owner's consent? Ballots went out. Pens scratched, paper rustled. I watched Sloane's hands clench and unclench. Martha read the result. Unanimous, she said. The restructure is invalid. Mira's role stands. Sloane whispered. No. Martha did not slow down. Second vote, she said, eyes on Sloane. We must address conduct. You claimed Mira contributed nothing. You tried to gain account access without authority. You acted on false assumptions that put the company at risk. Sloane slammed her palm on the table. You're punishing me for trying to lead. Harper spoke softly. They're protecting the company, he said. Dad stood, voice thin. Sloane! Why did you do this? Sloane turned to him, eyes wet with rage. Because Mira hides power and plays small, she said. Because she makes me feel stupid. I breathed in once. I didn't make you feel anything, I said. You did that when you ignored the work. Martha placed new ballots down. We will vote on whether Sloane Halden should be removed from any management role, effective immediately, she said. Sloane stared at the ballots like they were knives. Brent whispered in her ear. Mom clutched her purse. Dad looked down at the table. Martha's voice was quiet but final. Board members, mark your decision. The room went silent. And that silence told me the storm was about to break. Part 2. The ballots lay in a neat stack at the center of the table. Martha Rangi slid them out like she was dealing cards. No one smiled. Even the air felt heavy, like the room knew this was not a family talk anymore. This was a company choosing who could be trusted. Sloane's eyes moved from face to face. Her chin was high, but her hands shook. Brent kept whispering in her ear, quick and sharp. Mom stared at the board like they were strangers who had broken into our home. Dad looked down at the table like he wanted to disappear into the wood. Martha spoke again. This vote is about risk, she said. Not feelings, not pride, not family drama, risk. Sloane laughed, but it sounded thin. Risk? She repeated. I'm the one trying to grow us. Peter Blakely looked up. You tried to grab account access without authority, he said. That's risk. Moana added, you spread a false story in public, in front of clients and partners. That's risk. Lenny's voice was calm. You didn't know who owned what, he said. You tried to change leadership based on a guess. That's risk too. Sloane's face flushed. Mira hid it, she snapped. She hid the shares on purpose. I kept my eyes on Martha. I did not hide anything, I said. The documents were filed. I sent copies to the board every year. People chose not to read them. Mom leaned forward, voice sharp. Mira always does this, she said. She keeps secrets, then acts innocent. Harper and Gata spoke before I could. These are not secrets, he said. They are records. Records are public to the board. If someone ignored them, that is not fraud. Brent stood up. This is a hostile takeover, he said. You people are letting her bully her own family. Moana's eyes narrowed. Sit down, she said. You are not a voting member. Brent's mouth opened, then shut. He sat, but his leg kept bouncing under the table. Martha flipped to a printed page from my spreadsheet. This is not a feeling chart, she said. It is a cash trail. She held it up so everyone could see the rows. April 14, she read, payroll shortfall covered by Mira's personal transfer. June 2, emergency insurance renewal paid same day. August 19, vendor invoice paid after marketing spend overdrew the account. She looked at Sloane. You spent $27,000 on a video package and social ads in 1 quarter, she said. During that same quarter, the company almost missed payroll. Sloane's mouth opened, then closed. It was an investment, she said. Peter tapped the table. An investment doesn't get to skip the basics, he said. Lenny added, and these share purchases match the expansion minutes, he said. I remember signing witness lines. I just didn't add it up. Dad finally spoke again, voice small. I signed because we needed the money, he admitted. Mira said she'd cover it. I didn't ask where she got it. I just felt grateful. Mom looked at him like he betrayed her. Ken, she whispered. He did not look away. I'm tired of pretending, he said. Tonight I want truth. Sloane stared at Dad like he was a stranger. Brent's fingers tightened on his chair, and I saw him glance at my folder like it was a threat. Dad finally raised his head. His eyes looked tired and wet. Sloane, he said softly, Did you really think your sister did nothing? Sloane's voice cracked. She makes numbers, she said. That's not real work. The words hit me like a cold splash. 8 years of early mornings, late nights, and quiet fixes reduced to numbers. I leaned forward. The numbers are the work, I said. The numbers are payroll. The numbers are safety gear. The numbers are taxes that keep us out of court. The numbers are why you had a stage to stand on. Sloane turned her anger on me. You're acting like a hero, she said. You want everyone to clap. I shook my head once. I don't want claps, I said. I want the company to survive. Martha's voice cut through. Enough, she said. We vote. She nodded to Callie, the receptionist, who had been asked to act as the meeting secretary. Callie looked like she might faint, but she stepped forward with a small tray for ballots. One by one, board members marked their papers. I watched their faces instead of the pens. Moana was steady. Peter frowned like he was doing math in his head. Lenny wrote fast, then set his pen down like a final stamp. The other members did the same, quiet and sure. Sloane sat rigid, arms crossed, trying to look bored, but her foot tapped fast. Brent's jaw worked like he was chewing rage. Mom kept staring at Dad, like she wanted him to speak and save her plan. Dad did not move. When the last ballot dropped into the tray, Martha gathered them and handed them to Callie. Count, Martha said. Callie swallowed, then began. She opened the first ballot, read it silently, and placed it in a pile. Then the next. And the next. The only sound was paper shifting and Callie's soft breathing. Sloane's eyes widened with every ballot. She whispered, "No, no," under her breath, like she could change ink with hope. Brent leaned closer to her. "If they do this, we sue," he murmured. Harper looked at him. "You can try," he said, calm. "But you'll lose." Mom finally snapped. "This is cruel," she said. "You're humiliating my daughter." "Sud!" Martha did not look at her. "We are correcting a risk," she said. Callie reached the last ballot. Her hands trembled. She looked up at Martha, then at me, then at Sloane. She took a breath like she was about to announce a storm warning. Martha's voice was steady. "Read the result," she told her. Callie opened her mouth, and for a half second, time felt frozen. Quick pause again, friend. Are you still with me? Do you feel the tension in that room right now? What do you think the vote will say? And do you think Sloane deserves another chance? Would you forgive a sister who tried to erase your work? Or would you draw a hard line like Mira? I want your honest thoughts. And how are you liking my channel TrueVenge Chronicles so far? If this story is hitting you, drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from, your city and country. Also subscribe so you don't miss the next twist. Because once Callie reads that result, everything changes. Hit like if you want more stories with receipts, and share it with a friend who loves justice. Your support helps me post more often and reach new people. Okay, back to the vote, because the next line changes everything today. Callie's voice shook at first, then steadied. "The vote is unanimous," she said. For one beat, no one moved. Martha nodded like she expected it. "Then it is decided," she said. "Sloane Halden is removed from any management role at Halden Harbor Solutions, effective immediately." Sloane stared at the table. Her face went blank, like her mind could not hold the words. Then the blank cracked into rage. "This is a coup," she snapped. "You're all stuck in the past." Martha kept her tone flat. "This is governance," she said. "You created this risk." Brent stood up fast. "You can't do this," he said. "She's family. Ken, say something." Dad finally looked up. His voice was quiet. "Sloane," he said, "you hurt your sister. You hurt the company. I can't protect you from that." Sloane turned on him, eyes wide. "You promised," she whispered. Dad's shoulders dropped. "I promised to love you," he said. "Not to hand you a job you weren't ready for." Mom made a small sound, like a sob that did not know where to go. She looked at me like I was a stranger. "Are you happy now?" she asked. I answered honestly. "I'm relieved," I said. "Happy comes later." Sloane grabbed her bag and shoved her chair back. The scrape sounded like a scream. "You think this makes you the hero?" She spat at me. I stood up slowly. "It makes me responsible," I said. Martha leaned forward. "Sloane," she said, "you will return company property and access today. You can collect personal items later with supervision." Sloane laughed sharp. "Supervision? Like I'm a thief?" Harper Nagata's voice stayed calm. "We're preventing harm," he said. Brent pointed at Harper. "This is your fault," he said. Harper didn't blink. "No," he replied. "It's the fault of anyone who tried to change power with lies." Sloane stormed out of the room. Brent followed. Mom rushed after them. Dad stayed seated, hands shaking, as if the room had taken his strength. Martha cleared her throat. "Meeting is not over," she said. "We need a temporary plan." Moana spoke first. "Mira should be interim managing director," she said. "She already runs operations. She owns the vote. It's logical." Peter nodded. "Agreed," he said. Lenny looked at me. "Can you handle client meetings too?" he asked. "I can," I said. "And I'll bring Jay with me for field details." Martha wrote a note. "Then we vote to confirm Mira as interim managing director until the next review," she said. That vote was quick. Unanimous again. After the meeting, Dad asked to speak to me alone. We stood in the hallway by the coffee machine. His eyes were red. "I didn't know," he said. "I thought you two were equal. I tried to tell you," I said softly. "But you liked the story where we were equal. It felt safer." He swallowed. "Sloane is my baby," he said. "I know," I said, "but I'm your daughter too." He nodded, then looked away. "I'm sorry," he whispered. I wanted a big moment. I wanted him to say it louder, but I also knew Dad. Loud apologies are hard for him, so I took what he could give. "Help me fix this," I said. "Not with speeches, with support." He nodded again. "I will," he said. I walked toward my office. The door was locked. It had never been locked during business hours. I heard movement inside. A drawer sliding, a chair scraping. My pulse jumped once. "Sloane," I called, loud enough to be clear. "Open the door." No answer. I looked at Callie, who stood near the front desk, pale. "Did she take the keys?" I asked. Callie nodded fast. "She said it was her office," she whispered. "Call security," I said. Our building security lead is Rico Tanaka. Rico is 48, ex-Navy, and he does not argue with bad choices. He arrived in 2 minutes with another guard behind him. Rico knocked once. "Miss Halden," he said, voice firm. "Open the door." Silence, then a muffled thump like someone shoved a box. Rico knocked again. "Open it now." The lock clicked. The door opened a few inches. Sloane's face appeared, eyes red, jaw tight. "You're enjoying this," she hissed. "Step out," I said. She opened the door and marched past me, shoulders stiff. Brent was not with her now. Mom was not with her. For the first time, she looked small. Rico held out his hand. "Phone," he said. "Key card. Any company devices." Sloane's lips curled. "No," she said. "That's mine." Harper stepped closer. "If it was paid by the company, it is company property," he said. Sloane glared at me. "You're ruining my life," she said. "You tried to ruin mine first," I said. "Hand it over." Her hands shook as she pulled the key card from her bag and slapped it into Rico's palm. Then she tossed a phone on the desk, like it burned her. Rico nodded to the other guard. "Escort her out," he said. Sloane jerked away. "I can walk," she snapped. "Then walk," Rico replied. She stormed toward the exit. Halfway down the hall, she turned back and shouted, "You'll regret this when the company dies without my vision." No one answered. The door shut behind her, and the building got quieter, like it could breathe again. I stepped into the office that used to be mine. The walls had been changed, posters about growth hacks, a whiteboard full of slogans, a pile of glossy brochures for a rebrand we never needed. I walked to the trash bin and dropped the brochures in without reading them. Then I opened the desk drawers. There were no training files, no vendor notes, no safety audit reports, just sticky notes with words like disrupt, vibe, and optics. In the back drawer, I found a folder labeled sponsorship deals. I opened it and saw contracts for influencer videos that had nothing to do with safety training. I shut it and set it aside for Harper. I sat down, opened my laptop, and logged in. The two-step code pinged my phone. Good. Still secure. I pulled up our budget dashboard and started cutting the mess. First, I canceled the New Era Media contract. $30,000. Gone. Second, I froze every pending hire with titles like brand-led, culture manager, and experience coach. If the job did not improve training or safety, it paused. Third, I moved money back to where it belonged. Gear. Instructor pay, compliance checks, fuel and travel for field audits. By noon, I called Jay Rautia into the office. He stepped in, eyes alert. "You won?" he asked. "We stabilized," I said. "Different word," he nodded. "What do you need?" "Backlog list," I said. "Every training request we delayed. Every client we ignored. I want a clear plan by end of day." Jay grinned once, quick. "Finally," he said. "I'm on it." After that, I walked the floor. Not for applause, for signals. Phones were ringing with real questions again. People were working, not posing. "Then teach," I said. "I'll handle the rest." By the end of the week, the numbers shifted in the right direction. Vendor calls returned. 2 partners who had gone quiet during Sloane's new era emailed me back. One message was short. "Glad you're back to basics." 2 weeks later, the real payoff arrived, not in applause, but in email. Subject: contract approval. It was a multi-year training deal with a regional marine safety network. The kind of deal Sloane wanted to announce with fireworks. I read the last line and felt my chest loosen. Approved. I forwarded it to Martha and the board with one sentence. Focus brings trust back. I turned back to my laptop, opened next week's schedule, and filled it with real work. No drama, no slogans, just leadership done. I slept that night without knots. Life lessons. Lesson 1. Track your work in real time. Save invoices, transfers, emails, and meeting notes. Use one spreadsheet that shows dates, amounts, and reasons. Back it up. When someone says you did nothing, you can answer with facts, not anger, and you protect your future, even if they are family. Lesson 2. Don't run a business on feelings. Write clear roles, voting rules, and access limits. If you change leadership, do it with notice, minutes, and signatures. A fair process protects everyone, including the person who thinks they are in charge, and stops silent sabotage before it becomes a crisis. Lesson 3. Stay calm when someone tries to shame you in public. Calm keeps you thinking. Set boundaries, ask one clear question, and move in silence. Bring a trusted protector like a lawyer or mentor. Then rebuild with steady actions, not speeches, so trust returns fast and noise fades away. Now I want to hear from you. Was Mira right to draw a line, or should she have protected Sloane anyway? What would you do if a sister claimed you contributed nothing, but you had receipts? Write your thoughts in the comments and tell me city and country. Try lesson this week. Track your work, set boundaries, or follow a fair process. Use it in your personal, professional, and social life, then share what changed. Thank you so much for being here and supporting me. I truly appreciate every like, every comment, and every subscribe. It means more than you know, and it motivates me to keep bringing you stronger, more emotional, and more satisfying stories. If you already subscribed, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please keep taking an interest in the channel, keep coming back, and keep sharing your thoughts with me in the comments. And if you're watching this channel for the first time, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Also, make sure you check out a new video on the channel right now. There are more powerful stories waiting for you. Goodbye.